Hello, people from 2021, uh, and welcome to January. I'm officially back now. I took a little break through December to refocus on what I want to do on this channel and regather some strength. Also, I was waiting for my to get my old computer, my proper setup, which wasn't possible. But hey, the show must go on, and so I will not be set back by this, kind of tragedy. And let's talk about Cobra Kai. Now, back in the days when it started on YouTube Red, I watched the first episode, which was free, but didn't mind it so much because paying on YouTube for extra content doesn't make really sense, a streaming service on YouTube was definitely the wrong business choice. But yeah, Cobra Kai, it was then moved to Netflix because they were also then producing the third season. Now, I have watched the first two seasons and it was really great. The great things is, my best experience with Cobra Kai is, and the Karate Kid as a whole franchise. Only watched Karate Kid 4 with Hilary Swank, and then the kind of sort of reboot with Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan. But that didn't hinder my enjoyment of the show because I could go on with a fresh new perspective on the events. And it's great, It has the right amount of 80s nostalgia, but also improving on the characters from the original film. Now it's amazing that this whole idea is kind of worked through, and I could get Ralph Macchio and William Zabka. William Zabka is truly the standout of Cobra Kai, and I mean, he's Johnny Lawrence. The show is mainly about Johnny Lawrence. Yeah, maybe I'm gonna do a more in-depth later. But yeah, we start off with Johnny Lawrence as a loser who's still thinking back to the tournament that happened back in the 80s. And he has done some really, really crappy stuff. Now, on one evening, his car gets wrecked by Samantha LaRusso and her friends. So he has to come to Daniel because Daniel is a major car seller in Los Angeles and get his car fixed there. And this wholly really sets off the events of him starting a karate school and teaching this kid Miguel that he saved on another evening from getting beaten up. Now, it's not just cool action or going deep into the characters, as we get to know that Daniel LaRusso isn't really the perfect character either, and in some occasions quite villainous. And even though all this training by Mr. Miyagi has taught him valuable lessons for life, he's still kind of a hothead. And yeah. Now, season 3 was an absolute banger. I think it was even better than the second season. The stakes were high, even higher than before. And going back to Karate Kid 2, enjoying their also experiences, because not only you get to see cool action in Cobra Kai, different characters that you may or may not enjoy. Hashtag Moon is best girl. It also teaches about some of the philosophies of karate and how it changes some of the main characters. I wouldn't recommend it. I probably gonna watch all seasons through again. Now, yeah. Besides Johnny and Daniel, who kind of restart their rivalry from the first movie, there's also Miguel, a Mexican kid who's living next door to Johnny Lawrence. He's a kid with a good heart, but also a hothead. But despite those main character traits that kind of all main characters have, he's still distinguished enough to from Johnny and from Daniel, just because we live in a different society today. So the struggles are very different to back in the 80s and how these characters portray themselves. Then we have Samantha Rooster, who is honestly not the best character. In fact, she's one of the worst. Because she's kind of or at least she tries to portray herself as a good person, that largely contributes to many of the conflicts, or is responsible for conflicts happening, simply because she leaves out some of the truths. She has a little brother, but her brother is not important. I think he only gets one scene in the third season, which doesn't make me sad, because her little brother Anthony is the worst. He's spoiled, he's snarky, and he's really not fun to watch. So they only used him in the first season, and then kind of dropped the character off in the second season. And like I said, in the third season he had only one true appearance. But there are also some great characters, like Aisha, who is sadly not featured in the third season because the writers didn't have any material for her, so they wrote out the actress part. And even in the second season, her existence was a bit of a stretch, But at least it's better than it's better handled than in a show like Legacies, where they kept a character for 2 seasons with him really doing nothing major. But yeah, there's also what was his real name? I don't remember, but there's this one nerd who's friends with Miguel. I have to remind myself to say Miguel. So easy to say Miguel, but that's wrong. Miguel. Where you can truly see how karate changes a person, in his confidence and everything, because he starts actually off as good as first. Now Johnny has some questionable ethics when it comes to teaching, but this kid rebrands himself as Hawk, and at first he's a total badass, but he becomes a bully. But there's a whole arc, going on that he makes it, spoiler, to the good side in
season 3 again. But it isn't something out of nowhere, it's really something that has been prepared. And that's one of the main things that I like, the show really has good writing at moments and tries to expand on its story beats. Rarely I had to skip forward in the show, at least in the first 2 seasons. In season 3 I had to skip a couple of times because I know where arguments were going or it wasn't the most exciting stuff. But yeah, all good so far. Now, the action is also very good choreographed. We have this massive school fight that's practically the magnum opus of the second season. While the first season does some new stuff, it also backtracks on stuff that had been done before in the first Karate Kid movie. So a whole tournament arc and setting up the rivalry between Miguel and Robbie Keane. Now, Robbie Keane is the son of Johnny Lawrence, and like I said, Johnny is a very flawed person. He's definitely not the best father, so you can see how there's resentment, and Robbie becomes the student of Daniel LaRusso, which he does first out of spite, but grows to love the family and communion he has at the LaRusso household, because his mother is also not that good. Johnny is an alcoholic, and Robbie's mom is also alcoholic, and you can kind of see how that projects his story. So I thought that was really interesting how they switched it up by giving this by changing the dynamic. Instead of Robbie going to his father and they growing a closer bond, it's like him finding a parental figure in Daniel. Now, there are a bunch of callbacks to the original movies and even scenes that were not used in the first movie, which, when you're a fan, makes it even better as an experience. But even if you're not a fan of the original movies or have not seen the original movies, like in my case, you enjoy those moments. And then we have, of course, a character like Moon, who's honestly not given that much in the first 2 seasons, and even less in the third season. But honestly, Moon is so precious. Protect her on all costs. I have even featured a post with her image on my Instagram account, which you can find at Striking Resemblance 447. But yeah, her character is precious, and I wish we got to see a little bit more of her character, because honestly, she's the best girl. Now, there are some things that I criticize. Sometimes you can see the action not being choreographed, not staged well. Fuck it. I make mistakes, but this is like a trait on my channel that I say a lot of and get word mixed up. So deal with it. I could improve, I know, and I still try to grow into this. talker and reviewer, so bear with me. I don't write scripts. My whole point is that I'm doing it unscripted. But back to the subject. Besides that, the writing kind of fails or makes characters too annoying or too unlikable to a degree that it shouldn't be, and sometimes the arguments go just way too long or the humor just doesn't stick, for me at least. But that's my case. That's just my opinion. Overall, the actors do a great job. In the second season, we get a new character in Tori to like take off some air from the Aisha character, because they somehow have to replace that character when they got nothing in story for her, and she also didn't really fit with the whole Cobra Kai anymore. Tori is a great character. She's also a hothead, has to really crawl to get any achievement in life. She takes care of her mother and her brother, and there's some creepy stuff going on in season 3, but it's more like insinuated, where a character demands for her to do a thing. I won't go explicitly into it, but it's kind of gross when you consider that this character is supposed to be in high school. Yeah, so it's something very unsanctuary that she's supposed to do, and she's portrayed by Peyton List. Now, the younger Peyton List, Disney Peyton List, not the older Peyton List, but that gets constantly thrown into CW shows. She does a great job, and I think that that Cobra Kai does much more for her for her to live out her acting skills. Now, at no really point I felt like characters doing something out of character, which is always good when that happens. So the characters are fairly consistent, the action is great, packed with intense music that makes you really feel into the situation. But there are occasions where you're like think those characters just should talk it out. And then there's Kreese. John Kreese was the head honcho in the first Karate Kid, like Johnny Lawrence's teacher and everything. Now, I love this character because he's so despicable, and the actor of John Kreese does such a great job that you feel that you really want to hate him, but then you gotta remember, it's a character in a TV show. That's not how the actor is in real life, or at least I hope so. And then there's one of the biggest surprises, but I won't go into that because you should really check out Cobra Kai for yourself. Also have to probably stretch this video into 2 parts because these are 20 minutes of unsanctioned rambling, and my laptop can't make it with high precision. Anyway, this is going to be it for this video. I have to grow back into my role of a reviewer. I have been out of the loop for a month, and it really shows, as this video proves. So yeah, I hope you liked this video, and share your thoughts or comment. Check out my Instagram again at strikingresemblance447, where I don't post pictures of myself but pictures of my art. I've been working also on stories for Wattpad. For Wattpad, don't worry, it's not something cringy, or at least I hope it's nothing cringy.
And yeah, let's see. Let's talk in the comments, and we see us in a next video where I will talk about the Amazon Prime show The Wilds.
Now get the fuck out of my driveway.